One way that following the Torah has affected my friendship with friends is that when Kendall, my name is Kendall. When I was in first or second grade, I was hanging out by a tree in the field where me and my two friends normally hang out. And so Chloe, one of the girls, and me were already there. And Allison came running over, and she told me that last night her parents told her that she couldn't have friends anymore. She could only have acquaintances at school. I didn't really say anything, but I was just wondering why she could only call people acquaintances. It was just really weird to me. I didn't think that happened to you.
Well, why did she say that?
She said that her parents said that she couldn't have any friends, just acquaintances at school.
And why did her parents say that?
I didn't have any. I had no idea why her parents had said that.
What do you know now?
Yeah, it's because they weren't following what we were following, and her parents didn't like that. Well, Dad didn't like that.
Come back down.
How did you feel about that? How did that make you feel?
It made me feel kind of disappointed and a little hurt. I was wondering if I had done anything mean to her that she couldn't call me a friend anymore. Like if her family or her parents didn't like me anymore.
But do you have a more clear understanding now? Or does it still have that same effect on you?
I understand now because of what my parents told me, what happened, and that it had nothing to do with me. So it made me feel better.
Hallelujah. Thanks for sharing.
What I thought was a little weird was when Allison gave her something, she couldn't return it because her parents felt really strict about her coming over.
Is this the same friend?
Yes.
Okay.
So that night when we went over to her house, she let me borrow one of her toys. And since I never really talked to her or saw her that much, I never given it back to her.
Okay.
Another way that like being the truth has affected like my friendships is I like keeping the Sabbath like on a Saturday, like a weekend. And so like now like my friends are always like want to hang out or go parties and do sleepovers. But like I can't. And so like I'm not really that close to a lot of my friends anymore because we don't really do anything. So we can't do anything on the weekdays because of school and homework and sports, other things. So it kind of like affected who I like talk to really, and like we don't really have a close relationship anymore because we don't really hang out or talk unless we have like a class together, which I don't really have a lot of classes with a lot of my friends or lunch. But I guess it doesn't really make me feel bad. Like I'm not going out and partying with them because like now I look forward to coming to Sabbath and hanging out with my family here. I don't really. If they don't really want to like be my friend, then that's okay with me. Like I don't need to be friends with you. Like I have my family. I'm good with that.
All right. Give us your name, sweetie.
My name is Sierra, and kind of like what Alexa said. So like, if I had a close friend, like close acquaintance, and they'll invite me to their birthday party, like, and I ask them what day it is, and they say their birthday. Like, for example, they have their birthday party on March 10th, and that was a Saturday this month. So then I didn't know that, and then I looked at the calendar, and then it was a Saturday. And like usually when people have their birthday parties, instead of having them on Sundays, they have it on Saturdays. So like when I tell them I can't go, they just like, okay, but then like it seems like they move on to a different friends, and it's like I didn't go to that one birthday party, and it seemed like they just like exclude me from their life.
How does that make you feel?
Made me feel sad until I found someone that doesn't really care that I can't come to their birthday party like I do with their friends. Like
It's kind of the same for me too. Like now, like a lot of my friends like know that like I don't do anything on Saturdays. Like I can't hang out with them, so they just kind of don't ask me anymore. And they just like if they're doing something, they're just like, oh no, it's gonna be on Saturday, you can't come. And like it kind of like hurt my feelings. I'm like, okay, okay then. So you feel bad, but it's okay.
How I felt like there's this girl named Elena.
You'll have to get it.
Okay, so at my school, she had a party last year, and it was on a Saturday, and she really wanted me to come. And this year, she changed her party from a Saturday to a Sunday so I could come.
That's sweet.
Because I'm really good friend.
How did you feel about that?
I felt happy. Another birthday party situation is, so last year, my classmate, she invited me to her birthday, but it was on a Saturday, so I couldn't go, and I told her I couldn't go. And then this year, I heard one of my friends talking about going to her party. I was like, she had a party? And then I asked her about it. She's like, oh yeah, I didn't invite you because I knew you wouldn't be able to come because it was on Saturday. And it kind of made me feel a little weird that she wouldn't just like tell me or try to change it, and it kind of felt weird talking about it with other people. But after that, my friends really never talked about her party much after that. I guess they knew that it kind of made me feel bad.
Very much the situation was at my brother's school. It's not about a party, but it's about his school event. So last year, or maybe the first year that he came, I can't remember. But a previous year, they had all their events on Friday evening, and we celebrate the Sabbath from Friday evening to Saturday evening, so we couldn't come. And so he missed all the school events, the science fair, the different like auctions and things like that, you know, different out of school related events that they hosted, and he couldn't come. So either this year or last year, they decided to change it from Friday evening to Thursday evening just so he could come. And he's only one student, but they changed the date so they can include them. Yeah, it's a small school, but still.
That's still a big step, you know. But Yah will give you favor like that. You take a stand for him, you know, he'll move on your behalf. We've experienced it time and time again.
Something like that happened to me. Like, it's about a birthday again. Like, it was on a Saturday and I said, I can't come. Like, why not? I said, because on a Saturday and I'm not a Christian. I'm an Israelite, so I keep the Sabbath, so I can't I can't go to parties, I can't work, I can't do stuff like that on Saturday. So then instead of having their birthday party on Saturday, they had it on Sunday. And I told my dad, but then he said no because he has something to do on Sunday.
But she changed it into Easter. Okay.
Don't touch.
Well, I will say that you're absolutely right that Yah will give you favor even in a multitude of circumstances. So I work in corporate America, and there are times when there are two situations. There are times when I have to do meetings where I may have to go away or, you know, have a certain amount of time where I'm in this meeting from morning until the evening and I have to spend the night. And so there was one time where they had the meeting set and they changed the date to where it was during the time of one of the feasts, I believe the Feast of Trumpets. And so normally, if you don't put in your time before a meeting, they say, you know, you can't take the time off. But there were two situations with my managers where I explained it to them and told them, and I didn't have to be at the meeting. I was able to take off for the Feast of Trumpets without having, you know, to go through any additional, you know, steps. So when you stand up for what you believe in and you let them know this is my faith, you know, they will make a way. You know, I know there are probably a lot of people who feel like this is my livelihood. Like I can't tell them that I can't work on a Saturday or that I can't work this particular event, but you can do it and you have the faith and it'll work out in your favor. And it definitely did that for me, and that was a blessing because I felt a little bit nervous. Like, okay, how am I going to tell them, like, no, I'm not working on this date, but I did, and I was able to take off the time.
Hallelujah.
I believe, like, if they didn't, like, if they don't, like, let you take off, like, even after you tell them, like, I celebrate this, and I do this, and I believe in this, then obviously, like, that job is not for you, or maybe y'all wants you to, like, have a different opportunity somewhere else. Because there's always a reason for the things that happen.
And that's a lot of time.
Freedom.
Exactly.
You know, and actually, as far as my work as well, I'm in corporate America, but also operate a home-based business. And I guess the biggest change, well, in corporate America, I'm in a quota-based position in sales, and sometimes I ask, hey, can you run some appointments on Saturday? I'm like, nope, absolutely not. You know, you ask me, it's gonna be no. And with my home-based business, a lot of the events that they do, they happen on Shabbat. A lot of the big conferences will fly in there over the weekend, and the majority of the activities and training they do Friday night to Saturday. And so, you know, a lot on that front really has changed for me. But you know, I just have to miss it. You know, not go. And sometimes I'm just like, I'll just pay a ticket and fly across the country to go to an event. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do anything, you know, the majority of it. But whatever, you know, y'all got me. And haven't missed a beat. I'm good. Been blessed.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I thought you might like to share when you got your job.
Maybe next time.
Okay, this isn't about me, but it's about my dad. So, I can't remember what year it was. Probably like 2016, 2017. But like my dad, he really wanted to go somewhere because it seemed interesting, and he wanted to go with my mom. But like the days were like, it was like Thursday afternoon and then Friday evening and Saturday evening. Like the only one that they could go to, well, like not really go to because it was on Friday evening. Like the only. Okay, so anyway, I should put the one that was most reasonable was the Friday evening because reasons. So, but they couldn't go, and like my dad said, like we could probably go like as soon as the sun goes down on Saturday, and then like we could just do the rest of what they did there. But then they didn't end up. It's a waste of time.
So, okay, speaking of dietary laws, so, you know, regular dietary laws talking about pork and things like that. Besides trying to make sure that we don't buy anything or eat anything in general that has no stuff, there are times like where there are like parties, like pizza parties, and they have cheese pizza, pepperoni pizza. Because everybody loves pepperoni pizza. So everybody has pepperoni pizza. Like they either have 2 boxes of pepperoni, 2 boxes of cheese, or they'll just have more pepperoni than more cheese or something like that. So then oftentimes there are people who go and decide that they want to have cheese and pepperoni, things like that. but that's very inconsiderate, especially when we announce that there are people who can't eat pepperoni. Sometimes the teachers say, okay, people who can't eat pepperoni come up first. Um, but sometimes there are times where all the cheese pizza is gone before you can get the pepperoni pizza, and that's irritating.
I remember at Kendall's friend's party, they went to this gymnastics place, and there was pepperoni pizza and only like 2 boxes of cheese pizza and like 3 boxes of pepperoni pizza. And when me and my mom and my little sister came there to get something to eat and to pick up Kendall, there was only like 2 slices of only cheese pizza left.
Oh.
And most of us couldn't get any pizza.
Well, that happened. Also, when I was there, they ran out of cheese pizza, so the lady, I had told her that I couldn't eat pepperoni pizza, so she took off the pepperoni and she gave it to me. I'm just like, I still can't eat this. And she's like, but I took off the pepperoni. I'm just like, I'm not even gonna eat this.
The pepperoni juice is still on the pizza.
A lot of times I feel like a little. They feel a little like I feel a little sad. Like they have like all this food and like I can't eat any of it. So I just a lot of times I'm like, oh, I'm not hungry, because I don't want to like make them feel bad about not having enough food for me or like something that I can actually eat. I'm like, oh no, even though like I could sit in there starving. I'm like, oh, okay, I don't want any. I'm good.
So anyway, there are times where, like she said, that you can just pull off the pepperoni. There was one time where, this wasn't a pull off the pepperoni situation. So this was another situation where we were younger, and me, my brother, my sister, and my cousins over there, we went with our grandmother and our great aunt to Pizza Hut. And our great aunt, she's a kind, sweet lady, but sometimes can be intolerant, especially when it comes to our beliefs. So anyway, we went to Pizza Hut and we had cheese pizza, we had pepperoni pizza, and the cheese pizza was all gone, and there was a whole big piece of pepperoni left. And we were like, oh, there's no more cheese pizza. Just a general side that we can't have any more pizza. So then my aunt took a slice of pepperoni pizza and she pulled out the pepperoni, and then we were like, we still can't eat this. She said, why not? And I said, because there was pepperoni on it. Still, you cooked it with the pepperoni on it. And then he can't just pull it off. She said, but there's no pepperoni on it. Just eat it. And I said, why are you making such a big deal out of it? And my grandmother had to say, just stop. Just let it go. So yeah.
That reminds me of what my grandmother did, like, because she was bringing food over or whatever that she cooked in her house. I was a little skeptical about anything that she cooked in her house because she always got pork and stuff. But she brought over some cabbage and in our kitchen on our stove, and like, we're just like, wait, what did you cook this with? And she's like, it's cabbage. And it's like, did you cook this with pork in there or whatever? She's like, yeah. It's like, but it's okay. It's not. I took all the pork out. Like, I took it out. Like, but we still can't eat this. You cooked it with pork, and she didn't really understand that. To explain, explain to her like you still cooked it with pork, all the juices and all the stuff from the pork is still in the food. It's been contaminated. You can't eat this. Like, take it out of our house. We don't want it in on our dishes. It's like everything's gonna be unclean now. Like I guess I made her a little she mad about that. So we know when we didn't get to eat it, and so we told her like take it out, dump it out, because we don't like bring any pork in our house. We always tell people like don't bring food over here because we don't know what's in it. So like that's why like a lot of times like I don't want to like we don't let Aiden, my younger brother, go over like to my grandma's house, and she gets really mad about that because we don't know like what she'll give to him because she can be a little sly sometimes, and she's like, and a lot of things in her house like cook pork all the time, and don't want her to give anything to him that we wouldn't give him, a lot of people like from our family will try to feed him stuff, and like he can't eat that. He's just a baby, and you're trying to feed him certain stuff like that. You shouldn't be giving a child.
That reminds me of one time where my family and my cousins, we went to I think it was my godmother's house, wasn't it?
I remember.
I think, and we and her family was there, and we were getting food, and there was like some greens or beans. No, it was beans. And we asked, "Is there meat in this?" And then they're like, "Oh no, someone cooked it. There's no meat in it.
It's vegetarian.
It's vegetarian. It's all good." And then we started sitting down. Josh started eating the food.
No, I dig into it.
Mia. So Joshua started eating the food, and then he takes something out of his mouth. He's like, "Oh, there's meat in this." And we're just like,
Vegetarian.
Are you serious?
"What?"
Yeah.
This is so vegetarian.
So we ended up not eating anything on our plate. We just dumped the plate and got a whole meat.
I also
So-
remember.
So all these situations where, you know, we try to blend in, you know, with our friends or with people who don't believe in Torah, and, you know, how does that make you feel? Does it make you feel that maybe you should spend less time or try not to? Like, how does that make you feel where it puts you in a situation where you have to be so careful about what you eat because other people don't care about your beliefs? You can go ahead.
I feel that maybe I should try to introduce Torah to them, and if they are not ready for it, then we just don't have to hang out with them.
I think that like you should still hang out with them. You just try not to, like, if you're trying to blend in with all your other family, you probably shouldn't do that because it's not going to work out.
Yeah, I don't think you should try to like make yourself blend in. Like always, like be yourself, be unique, and be proud of what like you believe in.
Yeah, because whenever
trying to like fit in with everybody else, and like cause not what everybody else is always doing is now is right, and so like unique and keep yourself. Like
So yeah, at school, I don't go out and make my beliefs known just out there. But if someone asks me, or there's a situation where, you know, there's something that I can't do because of my faith, I specifically tell them that, you know, I can't do this because so, things like that. I'm not afraid to tell the reason why I believe this way, things like that. And my acquaintances, they might do things that I know I can't do, and I just don't join them. So yeah, I'm outspoken about that. And my teacher called my father one time, just like, you know, just a good report. He was calling out people's homes who are bad, or acting bad. Really. And so she wanted to give one good call out, so she called my father's phone and talked about me, and she was saying that he's not afraid to tell about his faith too, things like he's very open, things like that. He's respectful and etc. So I'm not afraid to tell who I am or what I stand for, things like that. I don't try to blend in, but I make sure I do it in a way that won't cause conflict, but then actually, you know, make people want to, you know more about it. I like answering questions, so if I have a question, I can answer.
there are definitely times where like sometimes I don't really want to like say something about like what I believe, because I know like the person and the way they'll react, or like things that they'll say towards me or anything. So a lot of times like I won't really say anything in the situation where I should actually tell them why. And so sometimes like I know the person like has like really strong beliefs or attitude, or just doesn't care about what certain people think. Like I will say like in a certain way, like or a different way than I would say to other people, to have them understand, because a lot of people just don't understand or like and don't really take into account like other people do have like other faiths and feelings, and so like that really like makes it a little like hard because sometimes I don't know like how to explain to somebody else what I believe, like especially depending on like, the person and how they react. If they do react a certain way, a lot of times like I'll know not to talk to that person because like they can't handle like what I'm saying, and so that makes me think like maybe I don't need to be friends with you, and I'll just keep my distance, and we can be acquaintances. I can still talk to you, but I don't want to be friends.
Oh, whenever people ask me like, well, what do you believe in? And well, sometimes I don't really explain that much, and they always try to guess, and whenever they get it wrong, they're just like, well, what are you? And I'm just like, I'm Israelite, and they're like, what? I'm just like, yeah, forget it. Forget I ever said it. Because they just don't understand, and they'll guess a whole bunch of other things.
A lot of times, like I won't say like a religion. I was like, we believe in the Bible and everything the Bible says, and so we follow like the Bible. It says this in the Bible, and so we follow it, and that's it.
that allows you to reach more people because
Yeah,
sometimes
like the Bible.
sometimes there's nothing wrong with saying you're Israelite, but sometimes when you use terms like that, then you know some people are like, oh okay, and they just walk away.
Yeah,
and
And
they
some
won't.
people are just like,
Exactly, but if you use things that they know about, can relate to, and things like that, explain from there, and that'll be easy.
Like I believe in the Bible and
And
the Ten Commandments and all this. Like, oh,
you get more to
okay. That makes more sense.
I said to my teacher that I was a Hebrew, and I didn't say that I was an Israelite. So she was like, "Isn't that a language?" She's Jewish.
Yeah, that reminds me in middle school too. Like, cause we had a paper, and she like really wanted to get more to know more about us. And like back then, like I didn't really know how to explain. You're saying like so like they said like religion. I said I was an Israelite, and she called me up, and she's like, "Aren't Israelites from Israel?" And like she was like, "I'm pretty sure you're not from Israel." Like I didn't really like back then. I didn't really know how to explain to her like what I believe in and like why I put that there. So I kind of just like okay, like I'll erase it then. Like since you think like that, and I felt like kind of embarrassed to her. I didn't really know like how to. I didn't know what to say to her. I was like.
So if you were asked that today, what would your explanation be?
Like I'm a Hebrew Israelite from tribe of Judah. Like, cause our people came from Israel, like they were taken on the slave ships and taken here. I believe like the Hebrew Israelites today, like those are not the true Jews, and we are.
No.
And like if you read the Bible and like it specifically explains that, and that's what I believe.
That reminds me of the situation when I was in fourth grade. And I don't know exactly the reason why. Oh, maybe, I think I just came up to my fourth grade teacher and said I'm from Israel. So I didn't know that. I didn't know about geography in general. So I didn't know that there was a country called Israel, and that people had a set idea of what Israel was. And like, oh, really? You're from Israel? It's like that. Where from Israel? And I couldn't really answer where in Israel I was from. And then she would ask me, and I couldn't really answer where because she was talking about the modern country, and I was talking about my lineage. And then there was a Palestinian student teacher because we were in Dearborn, so there were a lot of Arabs there. So the Palestinian was there trying to see what I was talking about. I didn't know anything about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, so I didn't know why she was interested. But she asked me about like, so what holidays do you celebrate and things like that? So, are you Jehovah's Witness? I said, no, I'm not Jehovah's Witness. But it was embarrassing because she thought I was talking about modern Israel when I wasn't. And I didn't know how to explain that to her because I didn't know about modern Israel. And then when the Arab students, like, they're 64% of the school population, so, you know, basically everybody, they were talking about how they didn't like Israel, because we had a book that was talking about the Middle Eastern countries and they didn't like Israel. And I didn't know how I felt about that, and then I later realized they weren't talking about me. They were talking about, you know, the Israeli people.
People who are there now.
Sometimes, like, it's kind of like religion. Like, sometimes, people, whatever people say, African American, they wonder why sometimes I'm just like, I don't like when people say that. I don't like that. And, like, one time my friend was like, did you know that, Africans used to put other African, bake other African slaves? I was just like, that's not true. And they asked me to explain why, and I can't really explain because I feel like they just look at me like I'm crazy. So I'm just like, because we were African. I'm just like, you just keep on thinking what you keep on thinking.
Sometimes we have to take these surveys to like help the dean of our school and the principal and like everybody that like the student council like and stuff like that, like to help improve our school. And like they say like, and then it says are you a dot dot dot, and then like it has different options like African American, Hispanic, like African like in parentheses American, and then Hispanic and in parentheses Mexican and so and like so on and so forth. And I'm looking at it, I'm like where's Hebrew Israelite?
I personally,
like I'm not on here, so
personally, I
can't answer that truthfully.
Is there other?
Is there other?
There usually is others though, and then you get to fill it in. But I personally just check off people African American because I know what they're talking about, and you know if they're going to be doing stuff dealing with African Americans, I want to make sure that I give an accurate count of I know who they're talking about. So
if I get up, we'll explain to you.
I saw an other like once, and I pressed that, but then all the other times I never saw an other. Like, I don't know why. Like, was I the only person that pressed it? And they didn't really think it mattered because it was only one person.
So they didn't give you like a fill in the thing. Oh, they
have like little boxes and everything in the word section. If I could type,
You just type.
Okay. So I also want to talk about Hebrew. So I've been learning Hebrew for about 4 years. Like I'm gonna say this in Hebrew. Shalom. אני יהושע גיל. אני בן 14 ובכיתה תשיעית. והחלטתי ללמוד עברית לפני 8 שנים. So, I'm Joshua Gill. I am 14 years old. I am in the 9th grade. I've been learning Hebrew. I began to learn Hebrew 4 years ago. So, when I started learning Hebrew, I was in the process of learning Japanese because I wanted to improve my art skills. And in my art skills, I found out about Japanese animation and comics, things like that. And I started getting interested in Japanese culture. And I wanted to learn Japanese so I can, because it was just interesting. So I was learning Japanese. That was the thing that I did in my hobby. And I would tell my father, my mother, things I learned and etc. Talking to them about Japan. And then, but one day my father said that, okay, your Japanese is cool and all, but why don't you learn Hebrew? And he said, that's our language. And then I said, I guess so. I guess I learned Hebrew. I wasn't really interested in learning Hebrew. My father, he tried to teach us the alphabet one time, and like just learn simple stuff in Hebrew like shalom. But I wasn't interested in learning the actual language. But then one day I decided to do it. When my father, he got this basics of biblical Hebrew set, we learned the biblical Hebrew, and from there, my interest in Hebrew grew, and I was learning Hebrew by myself. I wanted to learn Hebrew not only in a way where I can read the Bible, but read and learn Hebrew in a way where I can, possibly speak this with other people that speak Hebrew. So I've been learning Hebrew for 4 years. I haven't consistently been learning it, but I've been doing it in the times that I would make sure I want. In times that I know I need to study Hebrew again. And learning Hebrew, I've also began interest in just learning about different cultures and different things in general. So that sparked my interest in history. And because history, culture, and language are all intertwined, so I learned about history and different areas, things like that, and how that ties in. So I've gotten better in pronunciation and grammar and different things like that. I can read a passage in the Bible. I can understand what the sentences are saying too. I might not understand all of them, of course, but I know how to get the gist of it. And it's easy. I love Hebrew. Hebrew sounds very beautiful. I just love languages in general, but Hebrew has a special place in my heart. I'm still learning Japanese, and I want to learn Japanese, Spanish, Hebrew, Arabic, Chinese, and other languages like that. Not just a language lover, but Hebrew started that, and Hebrew will always, be
first.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing.
So there are 2 people in my class from Nigeria. They both have accents. I'm trying to get them to talk in the language so I can
Learn something new.
hear it.
Learn something new.
Yep. And I asked her a question I forgot what it was, but I asked her one thing, and she said that it was the same thing. Okay, so I have to ask another question.
Oh, this is, not the topic that we started on, but this is a little bit. I wanted to help out somebody in Dearborn. There was Turkish immigrants that came to Dearborn. The boy only spoke Turkish. So I told my teachers, I want to help this boy learn, be able to get used to living here. So I wanted to learn Turkish so I can talk to the Turkish boy. And, I learned the simple hello, marhaban, and I told him that. And, he understood that. He started smiling. I sat next to him on the bus. But then I realized that Google Translate was not the best way to learn a language. And then I started typing the sentences in Google Translate and saying them back to the Turkish boy. And he was getting it at first, but then he just, his face just changed. And he realized that I was not speaking Turkish. But, yeah, he still liked me. Yeah.
Because you made an effort.
But in that same school, that's where I realized something strange. During Feast of Unleavened Bread, it hasn't been happening recently, but it happened more than once. During the Feast of Unleavened Bread, it seems like every time that happens, they'll have bake sales at my school.
Yes.
Bake sales, cookies, cupcakes, and
can't eat
biscuits, and muffins, and things like that. Right in the middle of the week, and then when the unleavened bread week is over, the bake sale is done.
Where
did it go?
So,
Well, we will all be tested and tried on our faith.
Yes. Very.
Also, sorry. Okay, so that reminds me of whenever it's on Saturday, my mom would just look at, sometimes she would just look at her emails. She's like, they had this sale at this store, but it's only on Saturday. The sales are always on Saturday, and you can never go. And you're just I'm just I feel like we're being tested right now.
Yeah, same thing.
So that happens to my mom. there's something like going on at a store that me and her like, or just her, and then like, oh, it's a sale, and like, it's like, I'm just gonna give a random date. March 14th to March 24th. And then, like, we couldn't go on the other days. And then we're like, oh, we could go today, but then we don't have time because, like, it's a Saturday and we couldn't go on, like, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and all the other days. But also, at the same school where that they had the bake sale, and when it was the Feast of Unleavened Bread, like, sometimes they'll give us donuts for breakfast, which was not healthy at all, but they're good. So like, we would open up, like, it was like a little lunch bag, so we'd open it up and we'll see a donut, like, Feast of Unleavened Bread, try yourself. And then I was about to give it to one of Josh's friends. He said, you shouldn't do that since we can't have it. We shouldn't give it to somebody else. And I'm like, okay. So then I wasted a perfectly good donut.
You didn't waste it.
Yes, I did, 'cause I
We're
threw it
doing
away.
it for a favor.
You could have gave it to whenever one time during the Feast of Unleavened Bread we had a reader celebration and they were giving out pretzels. I wasn't sure if they had leaven in them. I was pretty sure they did, but they were giving out pretzels and lemonade. I only drank the lemonade and I was like, does anyone want my pretzel? And I was like, oh, I want. I was like, I'm just gonna leave it out in the middle of the table. Whoever grabs it, they can have it.
Speaking
I have that.
of holiday,
So like what she was talking about earlier, like with the things going on Saturday, like there's something like in my city where they do it like they have a certain like week or whatever where they do like on Saturday Eve during like in the summertime that market that's like down the street and they cut off the whole street, the farmers market, and it's only on Saturdays. Night like back when we weren't in the church, we would go and like I never noticed that it was on Saturday. We would just go and it'd be fun, and I'd go with my friends and my family. Buy a whole bunch of stuff and try a whole bunch of stuff out, look at things, and just walk around the neighborhood. And now, like, I thought, like, after we got into church, it's like, oh, they don't do this anymore? How come they don't do it anymore? And they're just like, oh, no, they do. I'm just like, what, when? And they're just like, oh, it's on Saturday. I'm just like, oh, that's why, like, I never noticed it because I can't go out. And, like, that makes it a little sad that I can't go anymore. That's all.
I remember that about like the donuts that we had to give away. There was like this tablet that had all the things that we were supposed to do, and it wasn't following the Torah. And I asked my dad, why can't we just give it to somebody? And my dad said, because that wouldn't be right. So we put it up against the house, and we broke it and threw it away.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it was the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and we couldn't eat the school lunch because it had yeast in it. So my mom, she had bought us Taco Bells, but she bought the hard shells because they didn't have yeast in it. So like something told me to check the package on the sauce. So I looked at the sauce and it said yeast. I'm like,
why would you put yeast?
What type of sauce has yeast? And then I asked my teacher if I could call my mom. She said yes. And I was like, Mama, the sauce has yeast in it. She said, well then just don't eat it. Like, I already put on my taco. Like, well just don't eat that one. I'm like, I put on both. She's like, oh. She said, you're just gonna be hungry then. I'm like, so then I told Josh and Elijah.
Okay.
Did they give you a piece? Nope.
What was the last one? So?
Speaking of holidays, so the worldly holidays, Christmas and Halloween. So Halloween they usually have school. They try to like educationify dressing up for Halloween. So like dress up like your favorite book character,
You used to
etc.
do a walkout for you come to school with your costume on.
Or they will have like different activities where you can get candy and things like that. And on Valentine's Day, they pass out candy and exchange candy and things like that. I don't think they do it on Christmas, but yeah, on Valentine's and Valentine's Day and Halloween, they exchange candy and things like that. Christmas candy?
Christmas cookies.
Oh, Christmas cookies. Oh yeah, candy cane, things like that.
Yeah.
But you know, at first we would always get the candy and things like that at school beforehand, but now we see that we can't get this candy because you know this candy is dedicated to this holiday, and we can't eat things sacrificed, even though it's not literally sacrificed. It's still dedicated to something that we think is wrong. So we avoid eating candies and the little things that are associated with those things. And then I not have my candy, and if you know people take the candy or just don't even give it to me. And some people ask me like, why don't you eat this candy and things like that? You don't like candy? You don't like chocolate? And it's like, no, I do. It's just that I can't eat it because it's been dedicated to this holiday, and I don't celebrate this holiday. You know, they ask me more questions.
That's a good point to bring out, you know, because I think even some of us as adults don't consider the fact that those things are created to deities, you know. And I know me personally, I used to wait until the holiday passed and then I would go buy it really cheap, you know. But the Ruach dealt with me on that, you know, and it was like this stuff, you know, is created, you know, in observance of other deities. So I had to stop doing that.
And that's similar to one thing where we were trying to make sure that we were trying to keep kosher, we didn't eat pork and things like that. And we lived in Dearborn, so there were a lot of Muslims there. And the Muslims, you know, they don't eat pork. However, their food is also halal, right? And when it's halal, that like when the meat is halal, like you know, fruits and vegetables and cheese and things like that are already considered halal. But meat, like chicken and beef, they make a halal by slaughtering the animal and they give a prayer to Allah. At first we would eat halal because you know we know it doesn't have pork in it, so it's fine. We just eat it. But then one day our father told us don't eat anything that says halal in it because you know they dedicate it to their deity. So we stopped eating halal, and then in the school lunches in Dearborn, they have like different things. Like they had like an asterisk that tells you if this meal is halal or not. And then I can't remember one day. The students at my school, they were sometimes intolerant, and they were really like Islamocentric. I don't know, because you know they live in Dearborn. Their community is Muslim, so they just assume everybody's Muslim. So one day in Dearborn, I brought a Bible to school because you know I just wanted to read it and things like that. I wasn't talking to anybody. I was just gonna read it. And like, what is that? I say, oh, it's a Bible. I said, you can't bring Bible to school. You know, you can't bring religious items to school and things like that. I was like, oh, okay. And I put my Bible away. You know, read it whenever you know I was alone. But being hypocritical, whenever a Muslim brought a Quran to school and then had Arabic and things like that, and they're like, oh, it's so beautiful. I learned that in my Saturday school and things like that. But you can't bring a Bible to school. This is not a Muslim school. This is a public school, so I can bring a Bible if I want to. If you can bring your Quran. And then one time, someone said that this one girl. So we were eating lunch. And it was a turkey sausage, and the turkey sausage was. I think the turkey sausage wasn't halal. And then I was eating it, and then she was saying, you can't eat that, it's not halal. And I said, I know that. And they said, well, hello. And he said, you can't eat things that are not halal. I said, yes, I can. And he said, I'm not a Muslim. And he said, but you still can't eat things that are not halal. And I was like, okay. And then one time I was going to recess with my friend Tanaya, and like me and Tanaya were the only two black people in the school. Tanaya was a Christian. So then one day she was talking, and then she was talking about her, her faith, and I don't have a problem with her expressing her faith, things like that, because that's her faith, that's what she believed. But she said if I was lying, Allah will strike me down dead if I was lying about this. And then I just looked at her straight and said, okay. I don't think that's something you want to be telling people. Yeah, but that's all I have to say.
All right. Well, we're going to end that on that note, and we'll be joining you again, walking in the way from a youth perspective. And with that, we say shalom.
Shalom.